Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Define Your Legacy. I'm your host, Diva McBee. And before we tap into another edition of Define Legacy, all right, we're going to present the first sponsor, and that sponsor is none other than Define Your Legacy. All right, so we recently launched an online store. Okay, you can find the link to that store in the description of this video and wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we have t-shirts, long sleeve tees, sweatshirts. We even have masks and mugs. Okay. So by all means, check it out, check the store out, and let us know what you think. All right. Again, the link will be in the description of this video as well as podcast. All right. Now, for today's guest, all right, we have Nikki May. Okay. Deal Finding Diva. She also goes by as of this video. So first, how are you? It's good to see you.
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for being on the show. So if you could, right, just introduce yourself and tell us what it is that you provide the world with.
Okay. My name is Nikki May. I actually primarily focus on my platform, Deal Finding Diva, on YouTube. I'm on a variety of platforms, but basically the focus of my brand is to let people know how to make money and save money, because I feel as though people normally will focus on one instead of the other when there's a combination of both that is necessary. But as well as my YouTube channel, I also have a blog, dealfindingdiva.com. So I blog as well as filming videos. And then I just pretty much lost my mind and restarted my old channel. So now I'm balancing like two YouTube channels, which the second one is called Nikki For Real. So it's more of like a vlogging channel. But the primary thing is to let people know how to basically take control of their lives, like how to live a better life on less, and get to the point where you can be making more.
Okay. So one thing I took note of that was you said making money as well as saving money. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about saving, but increase your income. And I definitely want to tap into that at some point. But first, could you talk to us about the beginning and how you got started into this?
Well, I actually I became interested in like saving money and things like that when just growing up broke, I'm a Philly girl. So,
Okay.
I grew up in a single mom household. And originally it was me and my brother. It ended up being four of us, but or four siblings. But just growing up and seeing my mom struggle. She was clipping coupons and doing all that. So I went to Temple University here in Philly. And so I graduated with a bachelor in communications and theater. And from there, I actually just completely went left and became a police officer in Philly. That's like a little known fact about me.
Okay.
So I quickly went up the ranks in Philly, had my daughter, and then it basically like woke me up, like, hold on, wait a minute, what am I doing? Because, I was a single mom at that point as well. And so it's kind of scary, having a daughter and, just thinking like, okay, well, what if I don't come home tonight? So, so needless to say, I left the police department. And so after that, I worked in a job and it was like in insurance. And it was funny because it just woke back up in me, like the whole saving thing, probably because I was making a lot less money than I was as a police sergeant, because that's what I was when I left Philly. And so it was just like the struggle was real again. But other people did notice that I was making ends meet. And so I would constantly be bombarded by coworkers, friends, family members asking me, well, how do you save money on this? Or, how can I get coupons for this? And so I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of people bothering me about it, because it was to the point where I was getting like DMs at work, like the chat messages were popping up like, oh, I have to take my kids this place. Do you know how I can get a discount? I'm like, come on, I'm working, right? So what I ended up doing was at that point, I figured, okay, well, let me start a little website and just throw on some savings tips for people. And so that's hence the name Deal Finding Diva, because I actually focused on finding deals and saving money, which I pretty much do a lot more than that now. Like I said, making money is thrown in there now.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was primarily focusing on couponing and just saving money all around. So I did the blog, and then I'm like, you know what? I should probably do a YouTube channel just because it'll probably be easier. And so I started my YouTube channel and it was not easier. It was much harder because then you have to edit and you have to be consistent. And I was not for years. I started my YouTube channel, I believe in 2015.
Okay.
And it wasn't until the pandemic started that in 2020 that I finally got monetized because I was finally being consistent. But just before because basically I went into full time for YouTube as well, like when the pandemic hit, because there were like no other options. Because by that point, I had left the job at the insurance company and I was actually driving for Uber and Lyft. And for me, it wasn't, a lot of people would look at it like, oh my gosh, like, oh man, she's driving for Uber and Lyft. But I was actually using it as a networking engine. And so what I would do, because I figured that is one good job where I can meet a lot of people. And sure enough, I did. I met people, that were millionaires. I met people that barely had a dime in their bank accounts. So I could learn from the millionaires and teach the people that had barely anything in their accounts. So, what I would do is I would just start conversations and I would get free education from some people, and even people that didn't have much money, they still had things to provide, information to provide to me. And so, so at that point, my YouTube channel was starting to grow and I was focusing on that a lot more. But once the pandemic hit, I'm like, I'm a single mom now, and my daughter, I'm like, of course, schools are closed and I have no choice. I have to stay home. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, time to kick this into full gear and completely focus on this YouTube channel and this blog. And from there, what was it? They shut everything down in around March. Yeah, in March of 2020. And I got monetized in May of 2020. So I was just like pumping out those videos and, just trying to get that information out there for people. But yeah, it was a long journey. So
I definitely, so the YouTube part is probably the area that's going to stick out to a lot of people, right? Being a full-time YouTuber. But there's a piece of that story that was very, very interesting to me. And that was where you were driving for Uber and Lyft, and how you were asking people, or having conversations with people in the car. And what I got from that is you made the most out of your situation, right? So how was that, right? Like how was it having conversations with different types of people and being able to either pick their brain or learn something new?
It was awesome. And the funny thing was I was like addicted to it. It was almost like a drug. I was so addicted to it. Like people would have parties. I'm like, no, I'm going to drive tonight. They were like, what is wrong with you? Like, no, I really love doing this because it was just like, I was able to control my own schedule. And being a single mom, my daughter has activities. She'll be in sports programs. I never have to miss an event. I never have to miss anything in her life. I can volunteer at the school and then still drive for Uber and Lyft and make my own hours and, just meeting those different people. And it was funny because then people, it would just be really great conversations, especially when they would find out, oh my gosh, she's a ex-police officer. Like, well, how'd you get here? And, and then the funny thing is, the assumption that people will have when you do drive for Uber, they'll assume, oh, she doesn't have insurance, health insurance and things like that. And it's like, no, you can educate people on that. Like, no, I actually do have health insurance and, I just, buy it on my own. But, there's certain things that, I was able to like let people know about me. Like, okay, it's not just a cookie cutter thing. You don't have to be broke to drive for Uber or Lyft. And I drove so much with Uber that I actually met the criteria to get college paid for, like for them to cover college tuition. Yeah, but it was crazy because just before that, it was just before the pandemic hit. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to drive anymore. So I'm not going to be able to continue it. So for me, I didn't go back just for that reason, because I'm like, okay, you know what, at that point, I'm looking at my YouTube channel grow and I'm like, nah, I can't,
And so you were doing these at the same time, YouTube as well as Uber and Lyft?
Yes, absolutely. So that's what I would give out my business card. I had my business cards in the car and I would give people my business cards. And there were people that would really ride for me. And I remember one particular night when I was driving and I met these two girls and I was taking them to a bar. We were having a great conversation. And so I told them about my YouTube channel because I would try to fit that into like every conversation I had. I have a YouTube channel and I even put it in my bio. in Uber. So when people would come in, they're like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? You know, so that would start a conversation a lot of times. But these two girls, before I dropped them off at the bar, they're like, oh, we like you. We're going to tell everybody in the bar about you. When I drove off, I started getting follow after follow after follow after
Wow.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, these girls really came through. And then they were coming in my comments like, yeah, we told you we would look out for you. Wow. I'm like, yeah, these girls rode for me. And they were just a couple of the people, but yeah, it was just people would see that you're real and they would really, you know, want to support, you know, so it benefited me a lot. I would gain so many subscribers just from talking to people driving in Uber.
It's funny because you hear a lot of people talk about, you know, paid marketing and advertising, which, you know, depending on your results, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But based on your story, it's like you can't sleep on just the idea of talking to people. So how did that make you feel, though, to know that you got subscribers and more viewers just by having conversations?
Oh, that felt good. And it was funny because I'm telling you, it was by design. I knew what I was doing when I was getting into it. I knew what I was doing because before I started Uber, I actually saw a YouTube video where a guy was talking about how you can make $10,000 a month driving Uber. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Right.
And he broke it down and he was a photographer and he was saying, okay, if I can get one client a month, you know, that could, you know, equal over $1,000 by itself and that kind of thing. So, you know, and then he, you know, he drove for like Uber Black or something like that. So at the time, it didn't really benefit me that much, but I had a Mercedes, but it was an older Mercedes. But what that would do is like, I didn't get like, I wasn't on like Uber Black or anything, but when people would see a Mercedes pull up, they're like, wait, did I order Uber Black? You know, because I took really good care of my car. And so my rating was like the highest. Like people would tell me like, I've never seen a rating so high for somebody that's done so many rides as you. And so it was like off the gate, like I treated everything professionally. I would make sure I had snacks and water and things like that in the car. I made people feel comfortable and I can read the room. And sometimes people will get in your car and not want to talk. And so I would get it, you know, it's fine. But but when I get those people that want to talk, you know, I'm like, okay, let's get it, you know?
Yeah. And that's dope too, though. I mean, because I think people feed off energy. And so you just said like, you know, how you were able to read the room. You know, just overall allowing that to kind of grow your YouTube channel. But even going off that, was there a specific video that you think led to your overall YouTube growth? Was there one video that kind of stuck out, that kind of put you on the map, if you will?
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's a tie between two of them. And they're two totally different niches. But one is 6 easy ways to get free gift cards, or like how to get free gift cards, 6 easy ways. And that video blew up. I don't remember which one came first, but the thing is, like when I talk on my YouTube channel, the difference between me and a lot of other people is I actually do the things that I talk about. And I've had people like email me and things like that, like, are you really doing this stuff? Like, I may not do this stuff every single day. I don't have all the time in the world to use every single app every day that I talk about. But if you look at my phone, I have over 300 apps in my phone. So yeah, so apps is something that I talk about a lot. And the reason why I have these apps is because they help me make or save money the majority of the time. So so when I talk about, I spoke about it on my channel about how to get free gift cards. I'm like, I have these apps in my phone and these are giving free gift cards for doing these things, watching videos or doing surveys, you know, something like that. And it was completely authentic. It wasn't that I expected that video to blow up. None of my videos were blowing up. So to me, it was just like, okay, I'm just telling people how to get by. You can earn these free gift cards these ways, and then use those gift cards to help you pay bills or help you buy some groceries, things like that. And that's where that came from. But between that one and there was another one.
But before you say the second one,
do
you want to take a guess at what my next question is going to be?
How did I find out about them or what?
No. Can you name some of the apps that give out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we have number one is one of my favorites called Fetch Rewards. So I always say like people have to buy groceries, like we have to buy groceries, or we're basically getting receipts everywhere we go. Keep those receipts because they're worth money. Fetch Rewards is a way where you can go in and scan your receipts and they will give you points that you can turn into free gift cards. So just for scanning your first receipt, they'll give you like 2,000 points, which equals like $2. But a lot of times what people don't realize as well is when you use those apps, yeah, that's one thing, you get a lot of points for that. But also put your family and your friends in on the game. Like, stop trying to be stingy and keeping it to yourself, because what that also does is that benefits you by letting other people know about it. When they sign up, you benefit from it. And there's some apps like there's one called Swagbucks.
Yeah.
Swagbucks is
Wow,
another
that's still
one.
around. Wow.
Yes, Swagbucks is one of the top ones. They were one of the OGs that I signed up with. And with them, not only when you put your friends and family on that one, will they reward you for it, but you get a portion of their points for the lifetime. So whenever they earn points, you're getting those points. So, you know, it's things like that. So between Fetch Rewards and Swagbucks, and then another favorite is My Points. My Points is a lot like Swagbucks, but actually My Points will give you gift cards instantly a lot of times, as well as Fetch Rewards. You can get gift cards instantly. So, I mean, all of them have their perks, and I'm telling you, I have long lists of my go-tos, and just in general, like when I'm going shopping, I'll go from app to app to app, and I have them in folders. And so it'll be like a rebates. Yeah, I have a rebates folder in my phone. So then when I come in from doing my grocery shopping, I'll just scan my receipts, just go to the next app. Now scan those receipts, go to the next app, and I'll earn on all of these apps. Like, nobody said you had to use just one. Then like just a few of them are like intertwined, and they know like, okay, well, you used it on this one because I guess they use the same system. But the majority of the time I can go through and just earn an app after app.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is a nice little system you got going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like there's a method to it, like there's a strategy somewhere behind it. Even though it could be a lot more simple than that. It's these are apps, and these are apps on your phone.
Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because it kind of like upsets me when people just decide, okay, like I know about this, but I'm just not going to use it. And it's like, but then they'll say, but I'm broke. Like, hold on. Well, you have these options at your fingertips. And, you know, the funny thing is the joke on my channel from, I call them divas and divos, my followers. A lot of times they'll go in the comments and they'll talk about the people that will jump in there and they'll say, can I get a free gift card? I have like 200 videos telling you how to get free gift cards, but you're asking me to just do the work and then hand mine over to you. And it's like, wait a minute, hold up. Like, so, yeah, but that's a running joke where people are just like, yeah, they're still asking her for gift cards.
Yeah, you give hours and hours worth of free game and still, you know, you get a comment of, can I get a free gift card? As if you didn't.
Exactly.
Right. I get it. So that was the first video, right? Basically, was 6 ways to get or 6 apps to receive a free gift card.
6 easy ways. Yeah, how to get free gift cards. 6 easy ways.
6 easy ways. Okay, what was the second one that you feel kind of?
So the second one is I think I named it like is Acx Legit. So what Acx is it's a platform where you can do audiobook narration. So authors might go on there and they'll look for somebody to narrate their books. And then you as a narrator, you can go in there with no experience necessary. And then you're not paying for anything either. What you can do is you can go in there and audition for a variety of books, like anything that piques your interest. And that was funny because that started from me seeing a YouTube video and somebody was talking about it. And I'm like, you know, how to, you know, get paid to read books. I'm like, hold on. And like I said, my degree is in communications and theater. And I haven't done anything in that realm in many, many years. And I absolutely have never done audiobook narration. So I'm like, but you know what? I need money and it's a passive income because once you get that book put out, that then whenever people are buying that book, you're getting royalties. So, so I'm like, well, it won't hurt to try and it's free. So let me just try it. And so sure enough, I tried it. And on my first audition, I actually got a contract. And so I'm like, hold on. and the thing that I tell people is always try to audition for your sound. Like I know I sound urban, so I'm going to audition for an urban book. And I'm also interested in urban books myself. So I want something that's interesting and I want something that's going to fit my voice. And so sure enough, that's when I got that contract. And there's a variety of types of contracts, but the contract that I got was like, it's not like they don't pay you up front, but you get the royalties. So I did that. And long story short, not only did I put out that first book, but when I put in my sample to the author, she's like, I love your voice. I have a second book I want you to do. Here's another contract. So I'm like, okay.
Why not?
So sure enough, yeah, when I did that book, and then she's like, well, once I put that in, she's like, yeah, there's a part 2 to this book. So yeah, she's like, yeah, I want you to do part 2 as well. So I got 3 audiobook contracts from one audition, my very first time. And it was funny because the crazy part is I was never going to talk about it on my channel. Like there's so many things that I don't talk about on my channel. Like I said, I don't even talk about like having been a police officer on my channel. And so there's certain things that I just won't say. Like, for me, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to do this on the side. And then I'll still teach people how to save money,
Yeah.
But yeah, so sure enough, but I got found out because I went over to the channel that I found the video on, like where she was originally talking about it. And I thanked her and I said, I got my first audiobook, thanks to you. I said, I would have never known about this basically. And next thing I know, my channel is being flooded. I'm doing gift card videos and videos about how to save money. And people are in the comments, okay, but what about audiobook narration? I'm like,
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
That's not common.
I was trying to hide it.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not common though, to hear that, people are making money off that.
I had never heard of it. That was the first time I had ever heard about it. And so sure enough, that's what, after probably the 20th comment, I'm like, you know what, I guess I should talk about this. But I really didn't want to talk about it. But so sure enough, I finally put that video out, and it was is Acx Legit. And people just, to this day, that might be my number one. It's always in the top 3. It's normally between 1 and 2, but yeah, that video is my top maker, my money maker on that channel. So
and from that one video was still wow.
Yes.
Wow. So all right, so I want to talk about 2 things, right? You mentioned the 2 that kind of got you put you on a different level, right? 2 things. The first one is how someone gets started in voice narration and the actual audiobook process, and then 2, continuing to build off the YouTube growth to where you are now. So the first one, voice narration. How did you audition? How did you find your audition, or how does that go?
Yeah, so when you go on the website, it's acx.com, and it's a subsidiary of Amazon, so you can trust them. If you can trust Amazon, you can trust Acx. So you can go on there, and authors will basically just put in. It's kind of like when you're looking for like an apartment online or anything like that. They'll post it, and you can filter by the types of books. You can filter by the gender, the genre, any of that stuff to help narrow down if you want a particular type of niche. You can also narrow it down by the type of contract that you want. So if you only want upfront payment, or if you want a combination of both. So there's royalty plus, and I forgot what it's called, but basically it's it's like a straight pay. So royalty plus would be a royalty plus a payment. So again, the kind that I got was a royalty. But you can just sign up for Acx, and it was extra easy because I already had an Amazon account. So you're not paying for anything. And one thing that a lot of people will ask me is if you have to do an audio sample in your profile, because that is an option to do. I didn't complete my profile. I literally was just like, I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to go in, pick a book, and see if I can audition for it. And I did. And I had nothing like in my bio or anything. I just put in my basic information that I had to put in, and the author liked my voice. And here's the thing that a lot of people also will ask me about is like, once they're auditioning, they're like, okay, well, what about the equipment? Like, do I have to have like some expensive equipment? And my answer to that is like yes and no. I lucked out because when I auditioned, I just did it on my computer. And like, luckily I'm such a perfectionist that is like, okay, but now I got to upgrade my microphone now that, now that I got a contract.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so when you auditioned, did you have like a microphone? Did you just did it off your phone? You said you did it off your computer? Or?
No, I did it on my Mac. I did it on my Mac.
I'm not heavy into the voice narration game, but something tells me, having a mic would probably, but you still got it anyway.
Yeah, I did. And because here's the thing, because number one, you want to please the audience. You don't want somebody to buy the book and then go complain to Audible that the sound sucks, So it's like, well, all right. And not to mention they can rate your book and all that. So you want somebody to have as good of a sound as possible. And you want the author to be happy because this is both of your names on the line. And I'm going to tell you, each of my audiobooks got better. I know, like, if I go back to my first one, I'm probably going to cringe. Like, okay, this to me is like, not, because I learned so much more as I went along, but it was a learning curve. And the author, apparently she had a bad experience with somebody else previously. And so she knew what she wanted, but yeah, so I always say, like, you should invest in yourself. Like, if you're going to take this seriously, then you should definitely invest in yourself. And I mean, there's a variety of different ways to get around it. I do on like all of my platforms, on my website, my blog. I even have like an Amazon page where on there I have sections for audiobook narration where I tell people this is the equipment that I have. And as well as here's some alternative options as well. Because I know the microphone that I have is quite expensive, but I'm lucky enough to have a friend that does music. And so he's like, you know what? I have a microphone. I'll give you my microphone. Hey, thank you. It's a pretty expensive microphone. I wouldn't have gotten it otherwise. But not everybody is that lucky. So that's why I try to give people alternative options. So, Amazon sells everything. They have like bundles and, with the filters and all kinds of stuff. So I just let people know I have like a little box that cuts down on the echoes and stuff like that. So, it's things, and, and I go through it because what that ended up doing when that video took off was it encouraged people to comment more and ask for more videos and ask more questions to the point where I don't even know how many videos I have on that subject now, but yeah. And it's every time I put more videos out, they still ask more questions, but a lot of times they're already answered in other videos, but people don't want to go back and watch older videos. Right. But yeah, so I'm constantly like on this like wheel of like letting people know, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what I do now. This is what I learned after this book. So it's a series that I have where it's like, okay, after my first book was done, okay, now I'm giving you an update on that. Now my second book is done. Here's the update on that. So, and then of course I'm announcing it too, so people know that it's out, as well as like, and I tell people it helps to know what an audiobook sounds like if you're going to audition for one as well. So yeah, it's a lot of work and there's a lot of technical stuff too.
So with the audition and the sample, what did you have to read?
I read a portion of the book. So there was it was like less than a page, I believe.
All right, okay, cool.
But cool. Each author, they can choose what they're going to put in, but normally it's like a little sample or snippet of the book. So that gives you an idea as well as like, okay, if I see this snippet and I'm not interested in it and it looks boring, it's like, or there's a lot of typos in it, I don't think I'm going to attach my name to this book. So I'm going to move on to the next one. So, I try to tell people like, like read in between the lines when it comes to that kind of stuff too, because these authors are learning too. A lot of times, which is one of the reasons why they don't have the budget to go out and, get somebody that has years worth of experience, that has their own website and doesn't need Acx, that kind of thing, where, they're coming in and they want a pool of people to be able to choose from. So that's why I tell people like, just, try to find something that you're interested in and, and also like look at the criteria that you have to follow as well, because they have frequently asked questions. And I'm going to tell you, it's a long and daunting process to do an audiobook. I never would have thought it was so difficult, but it's very difficult. And I make no qualms about it. I let people know this is not an easy thing, because even if you read very well and everything seems to flow when it comes to you reading it, then you have to turn around and you have to produce it. So you have to edit it. You have to make sure the sound is balanced. And ACX is very particular about what kind of sound that they're willing to accept. Like the floor noise has to be, and I'm like, what is a floor noise? It's like the floor, as low as it can get. And it's like, but it can't be dead silence. So it's like, or, you can't have peaks above this level, that kind of thing. And so you have to balance multiple things. And so I walk people through it on my channel of, okay, this is how you go about making sure that, your stuff will meet the ACX criteria. So it's to the point where now I'm creating an audiobook course, how to do audiobook narration course, because it's just so technical that you really have to it's not enough for like a YouTube video. And like I said, people don't want to go back and watch every single video that I posted on YouTube. And I feel like they'll be able to understand it better if it's all, in a course.
Right. So did you kind of learn about this through like trial and error? Did you have a mentor?
Yes. Yes. And I'm telling you, like there were certain like clips and things, and I'm like, why can't I get it balanced? And so what I found myself doing was scouring the internet and putting in, how do you lower the noise floor without, messing this up, and it was just so daunting. It was so time consuming. So I'm like, let me help other people out and let them know like how to do this so that they're not wasting all this time like I had to do and trying to figure it out, because it was so frustrating.
And it's crazy too, because I think I heard you say you didn't have any experience.
No, not in audiobook narration. I've done radio though. I've done
you got your degree in communications and theater.
Yeah. I it's not like I have my own radio show or anything, but but I interned on the radio. So that was like one of my main focuses in college was radio. So while I didn't, really make a career out of it, I did have some experience there.
But still though, I mean, would you say like radio and, voice narration, even though they might seem similar, they're still different in a way, right?
Yes, absolutely different.
Yeah. So, I mean, you weren't scared at all or think twice about starting your journey with that, with voice narration?
No, I had money on my mind. I was like, I got to get this book done. I need a passive income, because when you get that contract is 7 years. So they're paying you every month. I'm getting checks. Woo! And you know what I mean? So now I have 3 books, and I'm just, the other day I was like, where does money come from? Okay. ACX, thank you.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's so helpful. It's like, like I said, I'm a single mom. Times are hard.
and you only had to do it one time, right?
Right. You only have to do, well, I say only. I'm going to tell you now, like in order to get the book done, okay, just to give you an idea, the amount of pages in the book were normally about 200 pages. And I would say I put in a good 80 hours.
80 hours.
Okay. Yeah. And it's like, but here's the thing. It's not like it's like 80 hours of like being, you're sitting, but then you're dealing with neck cramps and,
Oh yeah. I mean, you talking for 80 hours.
Yes. I lost my voice. I lost my voice, especially for my first audiobook. Yeah, it was horrible. I lost my voice and I was just like, I got to get through this. I got to get through this. And so there's just so much to it that people don't think about. And it's like, and then like I talked about it in one of my later videos where I'm in a different place than what I was recording for my first 2 books. And so since I moved, these walls are much thinner. I can hear all of my neighbors. I can hear them cough and sneeze and yell at their kids. It's like, okay, like I can't concentrate. And it was to the point where in order to get any silence, I would have to record at like 1 a.m. to like 5 a.m. and then take my daughter to school. It was like ridiculous. Like my neighbors want to blast music at like 5, 6 a.m. So it's just like it was just a struggle.
Yeah. But I mean, you make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah. And I mean, especially too, when you talk about, your neighbors making noise, I mean, for what you're doing, you kind of need as much silence as you could probably get.
Right. Exactly.
Are there any, like, I know you say record on your Mac stuff. Are there any apps or websites? I know you mentioned acx.com, but are there anything, other resources that someone might be able to use if they're getting started in this?
Absolutely. I microphone wise, like I said, I always just recommend just going on Amazon. On my, like I said, on my Deal Finding Diva storefront on Amazon, I have audiobook narration. And I've even done like a live on Amazon. A lot of people don't even know that exists, but we go live on Amazon as influencers. And so I've done a segment on audiobook narration and the equipment that I use there. So whenever people are confused as to what kind of like mic to use, I always suggest go to Amazon. And the good thing about Amazon is they're going to take you down that rabbit hole. Okay, this one doesn't have good enough reviews or whatever. They're going to suggest you a similar microphone with better reviews. And okay, you need a better price. They're going to suggest to you like 10 more microphones where, that might be more in your budget. So I tell people Amazon is one of the best places to get a mic. But also when it comes to programs, I always say use Audacity. So Audacity is like the main recording platform because in my first for my first book, I messed up. I was using Final Cut Pro, and I was just using it on like just the sound portion of it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use Audacity in the future. But so that's what I did. Yeah, it was a struggle because I figured, I'm like, okay, well, I record, like I edit my videos in Final Cut Pro. So I'm like, okay, I know how to use that platform like the back of my hand. But to me, like the sound wasn't as good as like me going to Audacity, because the thing with and this is specifically why I use Audacity. I think I would say the majority of audiobook narrators on ACX use Audacity. And mainly because there's an ACX plugin. So even if you're on Windows or Mac, this is a free plugin that you can put into Audacity. And so when you finish your clip, because I would always record a chapter at a time. So I would, cut it down, edit it however I need to. And then before I save that chapter, I would use the ACX plugin. And at that point, it would check my noise floor and check my RMS levels. And, so if one is too high or something like that, it would say it failed. And it's not 100% foolproof, because I did have one issue with a clip because once I put it into ACX, it was like still giving me an error. But I found my way around it. Like I just started playing with it and balancing things out on my own. But that ACX plugin is the best thing that you can have if you're doing audiobook narration. Like I said, Audacity is free and the ACX plugin is free. And all you have to do is Google them and they'll pop up, So yeah, definitely use
You're
those.
using the words that everybody loves. Free.
Yes, free. Right. Exactly.
Free. So is there anything that you wish you knew when you first started compared to now about this?
About audiobook narration?
Yeah.
The difficulty of it. I actually thought that you could just sit down, record. Yeah. And, a lot of people, if you look on YouTube, you'll see people get paid to read. You're not just getting paid to read. What people also don't understand is, especially if you're doing like a fiction book, you have to do the voices of the characters too. So you're acting. You're acting. I had to be a man, I had to be a woman, I had to be everything, So, and I'm telling you, it like you have to have like multiple personality disorder or something to be able to do these books. Well, and I'm telling you that's one thing that did come in handy. And like I said, I have a theater background. My degree is in communications and theater. And so I already know I'm a quirky person, So for me, it's fine. But, a lot of people might be surprised at that. They might think, oh, okay, I'm just going to read this monotone. No, like you really have to get into it and be these characters.
Okay. So, all right. So, you know what? And this is a question I have for you too is, let's say, right, I was a person that, to put it on a context, right? Let's say I was a person that wanted to start this, right? I didn't know anything about it. I don't have any experience, but I know that voice acting, voice narration, reading audiobooks is something that I might be interested in. Walk me through this process. And we can start from literally the top. So, bam.
Okay. So the first thing that you do is you go on acx.com.
Okay, acx.com.
Start your account there. That is free. Yep. So you go ahead in there and just check out the types of books and things that are in there. like I said, you can filter by whatever you're interested in. Even if you want to read children's books, those are in there as well. So you can, find the kinds of books that you want, but also, like I said, you should also be prepared with a microphone. Now, when you're auditioning, because you just, pick whatever you want to audition for. When you feel as though you're ready, get yourself a microphone. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a high price microphone. You can get a whole bundle for under $50 which includes like a microphone, a pop filter, and some other things. And yeah, like I said, you should invest a little something in yourself.
Right.
And if you have a problem getting, $30 to spend on Amazon, use one of the apps that I talk about on my website that will get you free gift cards. And most of them give Amazon gift cards, and some instantly. And literally that's what I did. When I upgraded some of my stuff, I actually used free gift cards that I earned to upgrade some of my equipment. But
you do what you talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have a link at all in your personal description or bios of the microphone?
Yeah. Okay, I have.
Perfect.
Yeah, I have, like I said, I have all of it. Well, on my blog, dealfindingdiva.com. If you type in audiobook, like in the search, it'll come right up. I have a whole list of that stuff. Perfect. As well as if you go on Amazon, I have a Deal Finding Diva page. There's a whole entire segment where there's pictures, like the images of everything is right there. So you can see it right up front. Perfect. So yeah, like on every platform, even under my videos on any of my ACX or audiobook narration videos, in the description box, I have links to the things that I use.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure people knew like where they can, even get it from.
Yeah.
So definitely.
So I made sure that's available.
Give you that plug in there.
Yeah, exactly. But once, like I said, once you're ready to audition, like I said, this is how I always put it to people, is you're competing with other people. It's not just you auditioning. So since you're going to be competing, I said, just think about the fact that I may be competing against you for this. Do you think that the author is going to go with you on a microphone that you're trying to record on your phone, or are they going to go with me that has an actual microphone? So if we sound the same, if we sound exactly the same, who are they going to go with? They're going to go with the better sound. Yeah. And so that's why I tell people, try to give yourself the best start possible by it's not even a big investment, but just a little investment. And so, yeah, once you do that, like I said, you can go in and audition. And what I did also is I didn't just.
So let me pause right there if you don't mind. So, you mentioned, you got the account, right? You got the microphone, and you said that you could audition. So you pick, right, what book you want to audition for based off like categories or.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's a huge platform. Like there's so many books to choose from. Whatever kind of book you're interested in, even if you're into like science books, you can find science books on there. If you want to read a boring book, go ahead and read a boring book. If you don't want to do characters, you don't have to you could do something educational. They have so many different types of books. So yeah, you can go in there and then you just go in and it will be like a script that you can get. And in there, you could just read that. Now, one thing that I do suggest is that you don't just go with the first one, your first recording of it. Try it a couple different times, choose from your best option, and then submit that. Like you don't want to wing it. You want the best chance possible. So if you do get the audition, you'll get notified via email normally. That's how I got it via email as well as through ACX, because they can send messages through ACX. So they are right there. So yeah, if right at that point, if they're giving you an offer, you normally know upfront what kind of contract you're auditioning for, because it'll say it in the job. Now, there's something that a lot of people ask about, and it's called the PFH. So what that means is per finished hour. So say, for example, if you're going to get a flat rate, they might say, we'll pay $50 per finished hour. So PFH. So what that means is they don't care if it takes you 100 hours to finish this book. If that book is supposed to be 3 hours long, that's the finished hour. Those are the 3 finished hours, so you're going to get paid $150 and not, times 100.
Right. This is the part that people may not want to talk about, but yeah, this is.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people will get confused about that. Another thing that I definitely have to bring to people's attention is there are a lot of scammers on ACX. I get so many DMs, like especially through Instagram. I get people that, you know, are telling me different stories about, you know, how they got scammed on ACX. So one thing that I do tell people is if they are offered a contract, to try to do their research and make sure it's really that person that is offering you a contract. Because sometimes what people will try to do is they'll fake it and say that they're the author of that book and they're not. And it's so sad because I like I said, I get the messages from people that'll say, I put in X amount of hours into recording this book, and then I got a notification from ACX that they canceled the contract. Oh. And normally what that means is once they canceled the contract, there was some kind of scam going on. And it's like, I don't even want to know what would happen if they finish these books. Normally when people are reaching out to me, they're telling me ACX canceled their contract. So it's the way that I say, you know, like I said, I tell people to do their research, find out if it's that correct person. Pretty much everybody has social media and you could do your research. When you go in, when you find the books, like, because a lot of times they're already in paperback version, make sure you got that, you know, click on the author's name to take you to the paperback, find out who they are, find out their social media, contact them directly. Did you, you know, were you the one that approved me for this audiobook? Just, I mean, you know, I don't think that they would think that's weird, especially since there's so many scams going on ACX. And it's like, okay, I just want to make sure that you're you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's okay too. I feel like, you know, take that extra precaution because the worst case scenario, as you mentioned, you do all that work, you know, you do the sample, the audition, then you mess around and don't get anything at all. And now you're irritated and not getting the check. Exactly.
It happens a lot.
Okay. So, all right. So we got the account, we got the microphone, we did the sample, and now you're saying you sit back and wait until you got the confirmation email to let you know that you got selected. And now I'm assuming you're sent the full script, right?
Right.
All right. Is there a deadline that you have to get it done by? If it's like January 1st, do you have to get it done by a certain date?
Yeah. Okay. So there's 2 deadlines that you get. So the first deadline is the 15-minute checkpoint. So what that is in the first 15 minutes, like basically you have to read, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly 15 minutes or anything like that, just around that amount of time. Once you have to read about that much of the book and then, you know, edit it and basically treat it as if it's the finished product and send it over to the author for approval. Normally they will give you, I believe it's like over a month to do the 15-minute checkpoint. And then, you know, once the author approves that, then I would actually wait until the author approves that because they might want some changes and things like that, or you might be pronouncing a name wrong or something. And if you, and if you're ever confused on how to pronounce a street name or anything, ask the author. You know, that was a mistake that I made in the beginning. And luckily that name was in the first 15 minutes of it. And the author was like, oh, okay. You know, it's just slightly, you know, a slightly different pronunciation, but this is the correct pronunciation. Okay. All right. I don't have to go do a whole book over. Cause could you imagine if I would have completed an entire book and messed up this name? I would have to go and find, okay, where did I mess it up?
Every single time that,
Yeah, exactly. So that's why they do the 15-minute checkpoint to make sure that things are, you know, coming out well, and they want to make sure your sound is good as well. So, but yeah, once you do that 15-minute checkpoint, when they approve that, that's when you can go on and record the rest of the book. And normally they give you like a few months for that. I would say somewhere around like 3 months to record the entire book.
Okay. And so you're recording the book on your Mac and you're using
Audacity.
I said Audible. What's Audible?
Yeah.
I don't know all right. So either way, you're using Audacity. All right. And you record on there?
Yeah, you record on there. You know, they have the wave forms and all that in there. You can, you know, turn it into MP3, wave, any of that stuff. And what I really like about them is you can do whatever kind of editing you need in there, because like I said, I use Final Cut Pro. So for me, it's like, you know, it's kind of like video editing, but it's, you know, with sound. So you can chop up your sound. If you mess up, you can pause it, or some people will, like they'll make like a loud pop noise or something so that it makes the bar go up, so they know, okay, well, this is where I would cut when I go back to edit it. But me, I like to edit as I go, just because I don't want to overlook anything. So, but yeah, once you start editing through there, like I said, I record a chapter at a time typically. Like each chapter gets its own file. And then when I'm finished with that, that's when I will use my ACX plugin. It's called ACX Check. I'll use that. And then from there, it will see like, okay, is this like ACX worthy? And like I said, they have such strict criteria that it's very, very difficult to make sure you meet that process. But you know, I learned along the way, and I knew, okay, this is how I'm going to set my microphone in order to help me get a better sound. You know, things like that. So it just is very difficult to maneuver. But
have you ever tried recording off your phone at all?
No,
No,
I've never tried to record on my phone.
Okay. I mean, I asked because, you know, we talk about the microphone and just overall resources. I'm trying to think backwards in terms of for someone who may have like a very, very, very limited budget. I mean, I know we mentioned laptops, but nowadays, I mean, you know, people have phones as well as laptops, I feel like. So, but yeah, just want to mention that. All right. So it's been recorded, right? You edit it on Audacity. I'm assuming you send it to the author.
Yes.
They read it or they listen to it.
Right.
They listen to it. They give you, I'm assuming, their thoughts or opinions, or they approve it, right? And then what? So once they say, like, okay, this was approved on June 1st, what is it that you have to do from that point?
Okay, so once you finish your book, actually,
if I skip the step, let me know.
Oh yeah, so ACX has to approve it, like that final product. So it's going to go through them. Like, so basically they'll notify the author, okay, they finished it. And what I'll do also is I'll send the author a note. The author that I worked with, me and her, we would text each other and stuff. Like, you know, we would connect. So, you know, we had a little girl conversation and all kinds of stuff, you know, so it's just, you know, so we had open communication between us. And so, you know, she was lovely. And so, you know, we even talk to each other through Facebook, you know, it's just that kind of relationship that we had. So, you know, it's good to have a good relationship with the author. But yeah, so I would let her know as well directly, like, look, I sent this in, you know, hopefully they checked it. Hopefully, you know, I nailed it this time, you know, that kind of thing. So once ACX gets it, it will take them normally like a few weeks to check it. Like I would say 2 to 3 weeks. Because the last time I did it was like faster than any other time. So I think that was like a little over 2 weeks. But at that point, like I just got an email that was like, your book has been approved and it's available on, you know, on what is that? Audible. Yeah, so available on Audible.
Okay, that's where I heard Audible.
Audible, yeah. Audible.
Okay, I was gonna say, I knew I heard it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, as well as other platforms too. I think it's iTunes. Like the main one that I focus on is the Audible, because so many people are on Amazon and, you know, they get a lot of their audiobooks from there. But yeah, so they'll give you they'll send you an email and they'll say that it's on there, as well as one thing that a lot of people don't know is they'll also give you codes so that you can give away free copies. So basically you can give people a little sample, you know what I mean? Like what I like to do on my channel is, okay, like I finished my audiobook, I'm going to give away a couple of copies of that. So I haven't done that with this third one yet, but I am actually going to do that. So like, you know, I'm just to give people some incentive, like, you know, to help you out. I want you to hear my book for free. And, you know, the first 3 people to do X, Y, and Z, you know, will get a free copy of it, you know, that kind of thing. And you also want to promote it. So also they give you also like promotional links. So there's something called a bounty that you can get. And this is like a huge thing with ACX. It's really cool. So if somebody happens to sign up for an Audible membership and your book is like the first book that they get, if they use your link, you'll get a $50 bonus. I think it's at least 50. Yeah, $50 bonus. Yeah. So
you're big on your bonuses.
Yes, I love my bonuses. Yes, it was funny because I just got that bounty for the first time last week. I was like, oh, I got a bounty.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing. Is like I always make sure I give that link out to people like, oh, you don't have Audible yet? Okay, take this link.
and there's like there's opportunities in that. I think people really might sleep on that. It's like sending like your link and having people sign up, and like it might add up over time.
Right.
You know, like even to the example you used before, I think there was like a $2 example. But one, that $2 is more than zero. Right. And then number two, it might add up, right? Over if you keep doing it over and over and over again. So the thing is, I have two to kind of go off that is what's the process of eventual payment? Like, how do you eventually, deal with that?
They do the payment. When you set up your account, you should set up your direct deposit stuff. So that's like one of the first things you want your money. You want your money in your account. So basically, what they'll do is they'll send you an invoice. They pay you not that following month, but the month after that. So if you sell a book in September, you can expect to be paid in November, like toward the end of the month. So it will be the end of the following month, I believe. So end of 2 months later.
And is it based off like the number of sales that the book has?
No, whatever you earned is what you're going to get.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So you might end up with a little tiny check, or you might end up with something nice.
That's a dicey game. So when is that determined? Is that determined like beforehand or?
Yeah, that's and that's speaking on the terms of if you're getting a royalty, because that's all I know. Like I said, you have royalty plus, and then you can get I forgot the exact terminology they use, but it's a flat rate. Or you can get a flat rate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I personally don't know about the flat rate, but I'm sure they would give you the payment the same way, like through the direct deposit. But again, I'm not very familiar with
so yours is royalty, right? So
mine is royalty.
The more sales the audiobook gets, the more you, right?
Right. And that's why it helps to have a YouTube channel.
that sounds better. Because in my head, I'm like, hold on. So, I mean, obviously, if you get a flat rate, that means you get paid up front, whatever. But if the audiobook blows off or goes crazy in sales, you don't get any. But yeah, royalty sounds.
Yes, exactly. I'm telling you. And that's what I said. My first book, it came out like at the end of a year. And I was like, oh, Christmas is coming. I'm good. This is great.
Yeah. So would you say that's like the final step, or like that's the conclusion?
Yeah, that is it. Like once you do that, like to me, the final step is the promotion of it. It's to let people know that it exists. Once that occurs, like, once in a while, remind people of it. But other than that, no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to maintain anything. You don't have to handle any customer service. You don't have to do anything. Like, you are done. You will get those checks in for 7 years. So
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Exactly.
There you go. Never take a flat rate. That's what I got with that.
So, no. Exactly. Exactly. Well, the best one of them all would be royalty plus. So you would get a flat rate plus that royalty. But I've never gotten that.
Okay. But still, royalty is still, the way to go.
Right.
So you mentioned, that leading into like the YouTube, and that's one of your most popular videos. What would you say to aspiring YouTube channels? Because monetizing off YouTube is fill in the blank. Would you say it's easy? Would you say it's time consuming? Would you say
it is difficult? It is very difficult. And it's funny because, like I said, I'm starting from scratch on my Nikki For Real channel. So it's like, okay, I don't know why I did this, but but the thing is, like, you have to build yourself up to that point because you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within the last 12 months. And like I look at my channel, I look at the Deal Finder Diva channel, and I'm like, oh, 4,000 watch hours is nothing. But when you are at the bottom trying to get up there, it's like
it's a little different.
4,000 watch hours, like for real. So yeah, it is difficult to get there, but what everybody always says is be consistent. Be consistent. That is true. It's 100% true.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I got something to say, but I want to hear.
It is like with that, as well as, I think authenticity is very important as well. And I feel like I earned a lot of my subscribers by, like, especially when you can show proof. Like, look at my phone and see what is in my phone. Like, I'm really using these apps, and, I'm really doing this, or, just to like bounce back, like with the audiobook narration, like even before I announced it on my channel, I was getting hate. Like, I was getting people that would come over like, you're a liar, you didn't get audiobook contracts. I'm like, yeah, my checks are fake too, but okay.
Talk your talk. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, so you have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And, on that note, I always say also, you have to have thick skin. It's just like you can't be one of those people that, are going to cry in the corner if somebody talks bad about you, because especially when people can see that weakness, they will prey upon it. And, I'm a Philly girl, so, we get back at you. So I'm like, I got time today. Hold on.
Right. I'm not the one. Especially too, I feel like with what your channel is designed for in terms of making money and saving money. That's always, a delicate area for people to talk about.
Yeah. And I also think it started blowing up at the right time as well. Like with everybody having to stay home, people are losing jobs, and they're trying to figure out, how do I make ends meet? And it's, those things. And even people that have never been in that type of situation in their life are trying to figure out, well, what do I do? My unemployment checks aren't coming and are supposed to come. And, me and my, I would see it on TV all the time. Like, me and my kids, we don't have enough food to eat. We don't know how we're going to get through the week. That kind of thing. And like I said, luckily, I guess luckily, I've lived it. I've even as an adult, I had ebbs and flows ever since I left the police department, financially. And it's like, you got to make ends meet. It is what it is. Sometimes you just have to scrounge and figure out, okay, well, how am I going to pay this bill? So it's basically, you have to think outside the box. Okay, well, you know what? These apps do exist. Oh, my child is asleep. Let me take these surveys online real fast and get up some points so I can get enough, get a gift card for us to get some groceries. So I'm telling you, I've done that. So it's just, the experience of it, and as well as just also understanding even certain situations that I wasn't personally in as a police officer. I've seen some crazy stuff, and it's like, situations that I would have never thought of that really exist. And I got to see it firsthand. So, a lot of people will say, well, how do you know these things? Or, of course, I find out about like city entities or charity organizations and things like that the normal person might not know about. And so that's why I try to, people always say like, oh, you have to focus on one niche and, or you'll confuse your audience. Yeah, but the whole point of my channel is to basically help the people that need the help. So I just think of me, like, what would I want? Like, what did I need? What helped me get over these humps? Okay, it was having simple things like apps, or knowing which websites to go to get these free things, or knowing that when I shop online, I can get my cash, get a good percent of cash back and get checks every 90 days for just my normal shopping. So it's, that kind of thing is, what people overlook is the simple things. But, because a lot of people will focus on, oh, I need some more money. Yeah, you need some more money, but you also need to help supplement that income, because even though you may have found a gig or, found a job or whatever, also try to save money, try to get your discounts and stuff where you can, as well as try to have some kind of other income coming in, so you don't have all your eggs in one basket, because if you lose that job, now here you are back at square one. So I try to prevent people from dealing with that pain that I've dealt with myself, and, and just trying to tell them different things like, okay, well, you can get a passive income for making little quick books in a couple of minutes. And, those types of things are the things that end up growing on my channel, because people are like, oh, snap, like she does it. And, it actually really does work.
Yeah. I mean, I will say too, I guess on behalf of, your subscribers and your audience, you're definitely appreciated. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of like viral clips on the internet. We know there's a lot of content being out there, but I think content that really serves purpose and helps people and provides value is things that really, deserves its credit. And people definitely, should receive their flowers. So definitely want to say that what you're doing is dope. But going off that, and I love the story that you just mentioned too, because it was very relatable in terms of thinking about what you want, right? Think about where the world is, thinking about what people need, not necessarily, talking about stuff that doesn't matter, right? People are losing their jobs. You're dealing with a global pandemic. People not being able to, to feed their family.
Right.
So the final question that I have for you, and it's a question that I've asked everyone on Defiant Legacy. That question is, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a hustler.
Okay.
I want to say she worked hard to get where she is. And, like I said, my story, people always say, you need to write a book. You were a cop and you did this. And my daughter calls me Barbie because she's like, Mommy, you worked every job. Like I think I've had a good 20 jobs in my life plus, and that's not including my little side hustles, So I just wasn't, I want my tombstone to say she was a hustler.
Listen, I react and I smile that way because that, as you can probably tell, that was the first type of reaction that I've ever received. Some people, when I ask that question, it's like, wow, I've never even really thought about that. Some people, when I ask that, they have an immediate answer. Some people, when they ask that, it's about family, life. And the thing is, too, like I said, this is a financial literacy podcast, but I worded the question that way because I wanted to leave it open to interpretation, right? You can answer that based off money, based off family, based off relationships. You straight up said, I want to be remembered as awesome. Very, very simple. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. So again, thank you for being on the show. So if you could, drop your social media if you want, drop your website. I know you said you're ready to have a course. Drop that if you'd like. Drop your YouTube again. Feel free to run wild with the promo and the marketing where people can find you.
Yeah, so I'm everywhere as Deal Finding Diva. Even if you put me in Google, you will find everything under Deal Finding Diva. Don't get mad at me, y'all, if I end up changing the name of the channel, because it seems a little confusing to people that they're like, wait, she's finding deals, but wait, she's telling us how to make money. So I may just change the channel name to my name, but we'll worry about that later. But right now you can find me as Deal Finding Diva everywhere on Instagram. My website is dealfindingdiva.com. And also if you want to find me on Amazon, my storefront is called Deal Finding Diva. I'm an influencer over there. As well as if you want like more behind the scenes stuff, like, okay, well, where should I travel to or stuff like that? Nikki for real, Nikki, Nikki, number 4, REAL. I'm restarting that channel. I have under 100 subscribers, so I'm coming in. So yes, I'm Nikki for real over there, as well as official Nikki for real on everywhere else, Instagram, and I'm on TikTok under both accounts too. So yeah, I'm everywhere.
Everywhere. Life as an influencer, everywhere. Everywhere. Did you mention too that you were on the verge, I believe, of creating a course at some point? Was that something?
Yeah, I haven't completed it yet. I'm still like editing it because I really want to make sure my bases are covered, that people aren't like still questioning things. So I did get most of it, like, because I have video and written things as well. So I'm going to have like visual demonstrations and everything in there. And I'm a perfectionist, so I need to have it squared away before I do it. But I will definitely announce it on my channel on Deal Finding Diva once that course is released.
Right, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, especially when you're dealing with a course. When you're with people that's a very good thing. You're not trying to rush it. So y'all just be on the lookout for that. So are there any final words that you want to leave our lovely Defiant Legacy audience with?
Yeah, I would definitely say that a lot of people, they they look at things and they'll say, oh, well, that's going to be too difficult to achieve. Like, don't ever think that anything is beyond your reach, whether it is like wanting to start a YouTube channel or saving money or making money. You want to reach a certain financial goal or anything like that. Don't think that it's outside of your reach. All you have to do is put in some effort, and always remember that YouTube University exists. You can find out free information on anything that you want to find out on YouTube. So never let, your fears hold you back. Always, go for it. If you have a goal, go for it.
If you have a goal, go for it. I like that. I think that's a perfect way to end this episode. Again, y'all, so on my end, follow Define Legacy everywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, as well as your social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, we're on TikTok as well. And if you're interested, obviously, go check out the online store, grab your merch, tees, hoodies, cups, masks, all that. All right. The link will be in the description of this video and of this podcast. But just like that, y'all, define your legacy. We out. Stay blessed.